Welcome to this Infosecurity Europe podcast.
Hello, my name's Quentyn Taylor. I work for Canon Europe, Middle East and Africa, and I look after information security. So in regards to engaging third-party providers, it's all about understanding that their risk is your risk. So it's all about making sure that if they have a data breach or if they have a security incident, that you've understood what the liability you're carrying in that respect is. For example, if they have a major security incident, will that dramatically impact what you're doing? We saw this with the APT10 cloud hopper attacks on the managed service partners, where a certain nation state decided that it was, instead of hacking individual companies, they would simply hack a bunch of service partners, and that would just give them free, unfettered access to whoever they want to get access to. So it's about understanding what is the risk, and also understanding that you can't eliminate all risk. You're going to use the third-party service partners because it's going to be cheaper, better, whatever else it is, but you're going to have a trade-off. No matter who you go with, you're going to have a trade-off unless you do it yourselves internally, and then you'll have other trade-offs, but you can say, well, I've eliminated the third-party risk. So for that, it's about understanding what's the worst that can happen and how will I deal with it? Can I insure against it? Can I mitigate it with controls? Or will I just accept the risk? Well, I think the most important thing about the information flows that may go between you and the third-party providers and between the third-party providers and other third-party providers is to understand what the flows are and what's in them. You would be absolutely shocked and surprised to hear that in many incidents, people don't know what data was flowing in different directions. And not just at the beginning of the contract, but reviewing it regularly as time goes on, because security is often brought in right at the beginning of the contract to verify that the supplier is okay. But then sometimes, especially with some EDI partners or any kind of solutions like that, they might be in existence with you for 20 years. So in 20 years, the data that you start to exchange via that EDI partner might change quite dramatically. And the security team, their ancestors of the security team, may have looked at it a long time ago. So it's about regularly reviewing what data you're exchanging and how you're exchanging that data with a third party, and also what data is being exchanged between your third parties. You may have a third party doing internal software or application maintenance for you, who may need to deal with another one of your third parties doing something similar, doing maybe infrastructure, and they will need to exchange information. So how are they doing it, and how is that being governed? So the only other things I would add, it's about understanding the security posture of yourself and the security posture of your third parties. It's about understanding, start at the perimeter. I say good security starts at home. I also believe that good security starts at the perimeter. Understand, what are you exposing onto the internet? How does that look to an attacker? What are your third parties exposing onto the internet? How does that look to an attacker? Now, you probably don't want to be scanning all of their networks, but there are third parties you can go and purchase a service from who will give you some kind of scoring for the third parties. And I would strongly suggest that people look into these kind of services. They're very, very handy, kind of like a risk rating or a credit rating, but for security for third parties. You may be surprised to find that you are part of somebody else's risk rating. So you may want to understand what this is. So, I mean, I'll be talking on the 14th of July at 15:50 on the keynote stage on security and governance and how you can actually bring your company or your business people along on this. And this is really, really critical, because the third parties that we're talking about here are probably not ones that the IT or the information security team are directly contracting. There'll be third parties that the business people be contracting. So you've got to bring them along for the ride so they understand the reason why you care about this is because they should care about this. It's about making sure that they're driving you to say, tell me how secure these third parties are. Start making business purchase decisions based upon how secure somebody is. You can't have a situation where you just hope someone's going to get more secure. You either have to govern it by contract, but at the end of the day, you govern it by voting with your feet. If you allow your company to continue to buy and integrate with third parties that you are not happy with the security, well, that's a conversation you need to have inside your head and with your own people.
Thank you for listening to this Infosecurity Europe podcast.